What do you think's the difference between the people? Like, if you, me, and Tim all went and did the same story in the same market, chances
Hmm.
are they wouldn't all crush, right? So, like,
No.
what's the secret, or what are the things that people should be considering when they're making this type of content?
AI search is the one thing that I think is sticking out to me that really needs to be paid attention to because it's being incorporated everywhere.
But what about the process in running the business? Like, are you seeing anything that's really standing out to you right now about using AI more in the processes of your business?
All I want to do is zoom, a zoom, a zoom, and a boom, boom. Just shake your rump.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the REVB Podcast. Today, we are joined by good friend, real estate agent, and coach, Will Draper. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much. How you guys doing?
Dude, great intro. You know, this is good. This is a solid start.
We're getting people everything they paid for here, right? Like they paid for the VIP ticket, and we're going to make sure they get a concert and everything out of it, right?
Love it. All right, Katie, I'm jumping in. Will, haven't talked to you in a while. AI keeps changing things. Content keeps changing. And it seems like this never-ending change every day. And so tell me right now, like, what is the thing that you're the most excited about that you think is something that agents should be watching? But two, also, then if you have the answer, tell me like what was something that you were excited about that turned out to be a big flop. Like it didn't end up playing out the way you thought it was.
Oh yeah. It's such a great question because everything is constantly changing the way we are, right? And I think honestly, like AI search is the one thing that I think is sticking out to me that really needs to be paid attention to because it's being incorporated everywhere. And I was helping an agent the other day, and I just posted a reel this morning actually, and I was just doing a deep dive on her website, her Google business profile, making sure everything was dialed in. And there's this little function that's like, oh, here's everything AI knows about this person. And you can see how it's scanning. And you see when you go to Google, every time you type things in, you're always getting AI summaries of all these different things and snippets. And there's ways to build out all of your online platforms so you're easier found by that search engine. Because even though people are starting to use AI for search, less than 2% of people go to Chat GPT or Grok or any of those other ones and actually search for things. They're still going to Google because people are so predispositioned to do that. And they've built it into their search engine. So the more you're able to show up in those AI searches, the more it's going to be easier for you to get found. And it's not just one platform. It's making sure you're, I don't want to say compliant, but making sure you're able to be found and seen with those algorithms on every digital presence that you have. So I think that's the thing that's most exciting is it's coming fast and heavy. And something else that I wouldn't say fizzled out, but at first, all of these like HeyGen avatars and all this stuff in the beginning with like 8 fingers were funny. But now I watch things sometimes, it's like, is that really them? Are they really saying those things? Right? Like the one guy out of Jacksonville has a whole channel that is nothing but AI. I think it's hilarious. Like when I first watched it, I was like, wait a second. That's not real.
So that's like the opposite answer. Like it was something you didn't think was going to be much, but now it's like, man, freaking Josh has built a whole page on it's getting leads from his avatar.
And Katie, have you used 11 Labs or something like that to do some of your voiceover?
So I've used HeyGen on mine. And so you can tell because the voice is not quite there. So if you know me, you know, right?
Yeah.
Like Bobby, the production, video guy for BAM, he messaged me or he had commented on one of them and he's like, HeyGen question mark. And I responded to him. I was like, yeah, bro, this one is. I did 11 Labs, but I didn't love it. I put in 90 minutes of voice, but I used some variations in voice because it wasn't the same like mic every single time. So I'm going to redo my 11 Labs for 2 hours of Shure mic that we're all talking into right now and see how it goes. But like, it's so much like we don't have 7 fingers anymore, right? Like we have 5 fingers on each hand and like, it's wild.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool. And so have you guys heard of Luma Labs?
Let's talk. Tell us about Luma Labs.
So this is like, again, like the total opposite direction of something that has flopped. And honestly, I don't think anything's like really totally flopped. There's so many shitty or crappy tools out there. Sorry for everybody, not PG-13. There's so many crappy like AI tools out there that I try to just follow very, very few and just become like a super user of individual ones instead of getting shiny object syndrome and being distracted. I'd rather be a super user of Chat GPT and then a super user of HeyGen and then maybe one or two others. But this one I found because of another creator that I follow, and it's really cool. So you can take a picture of yourself and you drag and drop it in, right? And then you can take a photo of a scene. So say it's like a mountain scene, or like it's the inside of an airplane. And you take your photo, the inside of an airplane, and then you can say, take photo 1, put them in this scene 2, and make them act like they're a pilot. Right. And then they'll say, please record a 5-second video of you acting like a pilot. And they put it all together. It's really, really, really cool.
Well, it's like you sitting in your office doing it, right? Like I think I've seen the ads for it. Cause like what I love and hate about the internet right now, right, is the more I dive into something, then all of my ads are those things. And so, obviously doing like this local news stuff, like all of my ads are local Houston things, which is cool. And I love that. But then digging into AI and video, like my freaking feed is just like, all AI.
Have you seen the Bigfoot skits?
Oh, no. They're so funny. I've been watching.
Waste hours of your life every day looking at that stuff now.
Yeah, and okay, so but this is the type of thing, Will, that I don't think agents are seeing how it's gonna help them in their business. And it was the same thing when because Jason was playing the thing of me in my Hagen avatar. It was kind of quirky. It was kind of weird. And you're like, okay, that's cute, but like, what do you do with it? And now, a year later, Josh Rogers has built a whole channel of local news stuff using that. And so the stuff that is cool, like how agents will use it to grow their brand and grow their business, doesn't always become visible right away. But you made me think when you talked about AI search, because they're like, people are not using AI search at scale. Like they aren't. And that's fine. But I will say, I remember the first time I took an Uber before it was like super popular, right? I'm like, oh, this new Uber thing, I'll try it out. And you go on the app and you hit the button and a car comes up and you knew what car it was, got a picture of the driver. You get in, you get dropped off, you get out. You don't have to look for cash. You don't have to pay the guy nothing. All of it happened in the phone. When I got out of that first Uber, I said, I'm never taking a cab again. And it's kind of 100%. The same. It's kind of the same way when you start using ChatGPT, you're like, I'm not Googling stuff anymore. I'm doing this. And so I do think that 2% is going to go to 10% quickly. And then 10% is going to go to whatever even faster. And so it's definitely good to be keeping your eye on.
It's really interesting. So my daughter was taking her final exams for her freshman year in high school, right? And she'll never see this, so she won't be able to kill me for me sharing this story. But we were talking about like her studying and how in one of her classes she wasn't doing as well as we thought she should have been doing, and it was like a really hard class. And she was like, "But I use ChatGPT and everything to help me study," and I was like, I had to pause for a second and think about that. Like, I imagine being back in high school, I was pulling like Encyclopedia Britannica, but only volumes A through F off of my parents' shelf because we couldn't afford G through Z, right? Like that's all we could afford was that. So I'd have to go to the library for G through Z and doing my research there. And she's like, I did everything I could. I even used it to help me study. And I was like, holy shit. Right? Like the amount that it's being just infiltrated everywhere is just astonishing. And if people aren't using it, you will be left behind very, 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 very fast.
So with that being said, tactically speaking, like, I mean, I know there's 1,000 things that we could be doing with AI search, right? Mm-hmm. What's like one or two things that you would recommend everyone go do now, right? Because for years, and I've seen a page on or a post on your page of like the Google business page, right? How things are changing with that, how you need to do different things now. But like for years, it's been go freaking register your Google business page and make sure your shit's accurate, right? Yep. What's like the one thing right now that you're like, okay, this is the first thing you should do for AI search?
So the first thing you should do is I've been teaching it to my clients for the past couple of years, and it's something everybody overlooks is they have no idea what words or phrases they want to rank for, or they should be ranking for. And what I mean by that is keyword research, right? It goes back to old school SEO tactics. And what most people do, they'll go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to rank for a local search. What keyword should I be doing? The problem is it currently does not have the ability to see what search volume and traffic is for certain phrases and keywords. Okay. It can give general best practice information, but if you want that, you have to go to a specific tool like a SEMrush or a Keywords Everywhere and do the actual research in your market to understand what people are actually typing in the search engine to find real estate agents, homes for sales. And for example, if you might say realtors in insert your city, real estate agents in your city, realtors in your city and state, those are going to get different searches, different volumes. And typing in top realtor in city rarely yields any results, which means nobody's actually searching for that. But that's what everybody's trying to rank for on their Google business profile and on their website. Oh, I'm a top real estate agent. Nobody effing searches for that. If they do, it's such a small percentage. People are like, I want to do it. And I was like, did you know there's 7 searches last month in the state of Virginia for people looking for that? They're like, no. I was like, but if you type in realtors in Richmond, Virginia, there's 3,500 searches. That's the keyword you should be trying to rank for. And even down to specific neighborhoods and long tail keywords, but figuring out 10 to 20 keywords or keyword phrases that you want to rank for, not just on your Google business profile, not just on your website, but also on your Instagram, on your Facebook, on your YouTube, any place you have a digital presence. So your keywords and your captions on Instagram should somewhat mirror and match where you see everywhere else. So the reel I posted this morning that was talking about how well this agent showed up in AI search, it's because she's using those keywords in every place she's working online. So one of my clients out of Washington, D.C., we stopped using like hashtags on Instagram probably 6 months ago because Adam Mosseri said hashtags are useless. They don't help you reach anybody, right?
You can still use 30, but they don't matter.
You can use up to 30, but they don't matter whatsoever. So I was like, let's play around with actual keywords. Instead of saying hashtag luxury listing, what about luxury listings in Arlington, VA? Using that word as a keyword tagged in the actual Instagram post. And what we've noticed is an uptick of like 20-30% in reach and engagement on their post because it's reaching more local followers, because every time you post on Instagram, you see the little AI summary in blue, right? That says what your post is about. They're reading your caption and categorizing it, right? So the more you can find the keywords that you want to rank for, and people are going to Instagram and Facebook and they're looking for houses and agents in other markets, right? So what are they typing in? Do the research to understand what you want to rank for. Pick the 10 to 20, start with 10 phrases or keywords you want to rank for, and make sure they are reiterated on your business profile, reiterated on your website, reiterated on your Zillow profile, realtor.com profile, your Instagram, your Facebook, anywhere where you have a digital presence. Really target those keywords, and that will immensely help you with not only regular search, but AI search. That's the one missing component most agents don't hit.
Well, and it's wild to me, like how much the algorithms, especially on Instagram, like I would say, a year ago, like you really only saw like the things that you kind of already looked at, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm getting fed up so much stuff, and Tim's definitely getting fed a lot of stuff in his algorithm. That's really weird.
We shouldn't be talking about that, like, in public.
Yeah.
No. This is a sidebar.
But Tim,
I get some diabolical stuff.
Well, and so, the algorithm though on Instagram is so specific now, right? And so if you start adding those hashtags in, like, I don't think it's the hashtag, like it's just now people that are looking for that are going to get fed that because it's in your post. It's wild to me.
It is, and it's because it's the TikTokification of Instagram.
Yeah.
I feel like over the past year,
Yep.
right? Like they're trying to keep people on the platform because TikTok is really good at keeping people on the platform. And I've noticed a massive shift recently.
And the big difference is it's an interest-driven algorithm as opposed to a social-driven algorithm. And so Facebook, you see the people you're friends with, right? The people that you are connected with. It's a social-driven algorithm, where Instagram, they care less and less about who you're friends with. They care about what you're interested in. Like, I may not follow a single person who posts cat videos, yet I'm going to get a bunch of those in my feed if I like cats. And so it's just a different, we're like, how do I get more people to follow me on Instagram? But what I love is that follower to view count ratio, it keeps getting crazier. Like people with 500 followers with a bunch of viral videos and people with 500,000 followers who aren't getting as much views because, their content's not as interesting.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so cool to see how that shift has happened, but it also makes you think like, is my strategy aligned with what's working right now?
Yeah.
Right. Like if I did this particular thing, am I just going to get pigeonholed over here? Like where are the clients that I want to work with, the people that I want to work with in my local community? What are they watching? Right. Like, how do I get back in front of them? And it's funny. I didn't think we were going to get to this place, but it's really hard to get discovered organically now. Right? When you think, I think it is in local areas, unless you're diving into locally based content, which is why a lot of these news channels type things work. So it's like, oh, people like local news, we're going to feed them. But if you're not doing that, like, how do you get tied back into the local community? You have to hammer local content over and over and over again.
So
I think Katie and I both made the same face because we have so many people that are crushing it local content doing that right now.
What I was going to say though is like, not everyone is though, right? So like you being a coach, and I know you coach some of the people that are crushing with this right now and have helped them tweak their strategy and help them with like their story and polls and stuff like that. But like, what do you think is the difference between the people? Like if you, me and Tim all went and did the same story in the same market, chances are they wouldn't all crush, right? So like, what's the secret, or what are the things that people should be considering when they're making this type of content?
The people that are crushing it at certain types of content actually like creating what they're putting out. I'm just going to say what it is. I work with some people that are trying that style and other styles. And when I go to audit it and review it, I'm like, did you even try? Like, I can tell you're just trying to copy exactly what somebody else is doing. You're not putting your own unique voice and perspective behind it. I can tell you kind of half-assed your way through this, or you just copied their script and put your name on it and changed a couple words, right? So that's part of it, right? And it's also who you interact with, like posting and ghosting. I know you've heard that terminology before. A lot of they will post and then they will never show up on the platform again. You're not going to get that engagement if you're not actively on the platform, working through your stories, working through your feed, interacting and engaging with other people's content, because that's part of how the algorithm works, is like, who are you engaging with on a consistent basis? So it won't crush for all of us, right? Because we all have different audiences too, but there's also a way around it, right? And I think more than ever, I think so many agents sleep on running locally targeted ads with Instagram and Facebook. And I don't mean ads as in ads. I mean creating a awareness campaign where, hey, I'm creating content. I can't break through the noise. One, your content probably sucks, but there are a few people where it doesn't suck. They're just not getting the reach yet. Getting their content in front of a new audience and then continually retargeting them as you build that awareness audience is a fast path to growth. I've seen some people crush it doing that when their content is kind of subpar, but they can say, all right, in this one city, I want to grow a local audience. So I'm going to make local content. I'm actually going to put $10 a day behind it constantly without question. And then the people that actually watch the videos that I put out, I'm going to retarget them with my next piece of content. So when you create that consistent system, you're constantly building your retargeting audience to a point where you're making sure your content gets in front of the right 1,000 people every day. And it's not about 100,000 views on every video. Like, going viral doesn't necessarily bring you business, right? And I think a lot of people do chase the virality and the views versus, nice. You know what? 1,000 views per video by the right 1,000 people is way better than 100,000 views by people who don't even live where you are or don't care about what you're about.
Oh, 1,000%. So then what is you have the content, you're getting the views, you have the local reach. What's like the switch you flip in order to start getting more business? Because like the immediately logging on and being like, I'm a real estate agent, buy a house, isn't it? Right.
Well, it's it's one of those things. It's like, what's not one size fits all. It's different for everybody. Right. And that's, a lot of the people that I work with, what we try to identify is like, all right, how do we get more business out of the content that I'm doing? I'm doing good at content. How do I transfer that? And it's all specific to what the content is, right? So some of my clients, they do a tour Thursday. Very simple, like 7-second, like highly engaging home tours every Thursday, but they only do it on Thursdays. Everything else is local content, right? And what they do is we tease it out 2 days before in their stories and say, hey, we got a special behind the scenes Tour Thursday coming up. If you want to be the first to get the link, comment Tour Thursday on this story and we'll send you the link before it drops, right? So what's that doing? It's building engagement through the stories, and you're also getting people to raise their hand and reach out. So that's part one. That's identification, right? And then when we get to that tour on Thursday, we release it, we share all the sexy stuff about the house, but we don't give away the address. And they're like, well, what's the address? Well, they have to comment the keyword. We use a mini chat automation that then starts them on a pre-qualification process. And it's not send them the link directly. It actually sends them through and pre-qualifies them to go through 5 or 10 questions and talk back and forth, get their email address, send them over the link. And last week, these clients I'm talking about posted a video, kind of an ugly house, right? But it reached the right audience, set up 5 showings from 5 different clients, 5 different people signing by our agency for one 7-second video that they put out. Now, was it the first one that we did? No. We've been running this strategy for probably 2 months, but we've added 1,000 people to their email list. And then the problem was, how do we get them to actually convert? We switched the language in our post from getting more details to setting up a showing. And then we said, not commenting. You can comment the keyword to get the details, but you have to DM us the word to set up a showing. What does the DM do? It makes you take an extra step. Because if you just want leads and people to raise their hand, you tell them to comment on your post. Then you can use your mini chat. And I'm like, but how easy is it? You see, it says, comment viral and I'll send you my ChatGPT starter pack. How many times have all of us probably done that? Like all the time, right? But if you have to DM somebody, you kind of roll your eyes like, oh, that's extra effort. I'm on to my next Bigfoot video.
Katie's got 2 of those this week. So the other thing I like about what you're talking about, Will, is that I've talked about this a ton. Like you see the comment section get ruined by the word to comment. So like I love saying DM me for the details because it doesn't kill the comment section. So many of our like best local news videos could have way better conversations going on in the comment section, but instead it's like everybody commenting the word orange.
You know, you're just like, yeah. So I was working with Rick. You guys know Rick Lee.
Yeah.
So I was working with him, and he was like, "Man, my comment section's all effed up. Like people used to be having conversations. Like, tell them to quit commenting.
Yeah, I'm DM you.
Just tell them to DM you if they actually want to chat, and then just let the comments run." And he gets 2 or 3 people a week. It's scheduling appointments with them to talk to them.
And I think everything has a place, right? There's a place for many chat. There's a place for DMs. Katie, go ahead. Sorry.
What I was saying is like the conversations, like people are always like, well, then what do you say? Right. And like the conversations that Rick has been having, it's like, they DM and it say like the keywords Will, it's the neighbor's Will. So like DM me Will. So they DM the word Will and he's like, what's up, Tim? How's it going? And the person like responds and he's like, so you're currently looking to move, or tell me a little bit about what you're looking for. Or the people are just like, they comment the keyword and they're like, I'm looking to move to Seal Beach. I saw your post. Can you help me? Like I love what Rick is doing because everything is real estate related. I would say 95% is real estate related. And it is
now.
And it's now. Like what was the other thing I was to say? Oh, like he takes like the market data and makes it so much more interesting, right? Because if you just sit there and report all of the numbers, that's a lot different than being like, this is where the opportunity is, or this is where, insert thing here.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I think he started him and a few other people, they started, I think, early January, and he was getting like 200,000-400,000 views per video. It was all super news based. And it was like, he's like, dude, I can't keep up with like all of these comments and this and that. And I was like, you get any business? He's like, no. And I was like, well, stop doing the news. I was like, just do more real estate. And so he made one video. He had one client or one person that reached out in his DM and had a question. He answered the question with a reel. So he made that one video for that one client, then sent it to him. That guy's like, dude, you're awesome. You made this for me. And I was like, see, answer the question people are asking you. And I was like, make it more real estate specific so people know you're an agent and not a newscaster. So when you make that real estate focus, it's not the absorption rate is 5.4% in 27 days on the
That's
like it's so boring, right? I used to make those videos for my YouTube skippables like 8 years ago, but they were novel at the time. But now, like, you can't. You have to hook people in, and then you almost have to give them no information and just keep them stringing along. By the end, you're like, what did I just watch? That was interesting, but I need to see again. He always leaves on a cliffhanger where the story's not totally told yet, right? But everything is tied back to real estate, and his leads have gone up tremendously from doing that.
And he just had his first closing. But that's enough. We've already interviewed Rick Lee, so that's enough about him.
We have. But I do like, it's good to get different perspectives around it. I think there's this balance of giving people the content that they want, which is a lot of this new stuff, but also making sure you're positioned in a way that people know who you are. And I think we talk so much about really taking care of your audience, serving your audience and everything else, because so much of real estate, agents make content that is self-serving all the time. And that is usually why it does not work. But on the same, so sometimes we fall too far to the side on that spectrum where we're so worried to like tell people we're an agent because we've built this audience. We want to serve this audience, everything else. And so finding that balance is important. So like a lot of our REVB crew is on the side of the spectrum where it's like, guys, like do a tour every once in a while, talk about the development that's happening, like do something to make sure people know you're an agent. Where the other side of the spectrum, it's like, guys, nobody cares that you just closed a house. Like talk about stuff that people actually care about. Yeah. And it just is so funny to me because people just tend to be on like one side or the other. It's hard to find magic middle.
I always think about a finger, right? When we're talking about that type of content.
Yeah.
If it's about you and you're pointing the finger at yourself, it's only really going to resonate with you. It's not resonating for your audience. Like you're making the content for the person that's on the other side of the phone or the other side of the camera. And if you're making it for them, they're going to get more value out of it. Right.
Yeah.
So like what I say, like somebody made a post the other day is like, check out my new listing. Yeah. My new listing. Like nobody wants to see my new listing.
Well, right. My only, not pushback, but if you've built this great brand that people really do care about you and what you're doing, maybe.
You got to deliver in a different way.
But probably not.
You've got to see this X, Y, and Z that has A, B, and C in this location. You are not going to believe it, right? Then like, now I'm interested. You didn't say me, my. Like it's the subtle language thing. You can still present it, but present it in a way it's like, ooh, here's this carrot. Here's this thing that you want versus like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Look at me.
And I just love, was it one of my things? Like I try not to give our agents too hard a time, but people send me stuff that's just not great on a regular basis. And my favorite question to hopefully get the wheels turning is like, who would share this? Who would just discover your post that you just made or discover this video and say, ooh, I got to send this to my friends. Ooh, I got to send this to so-and-so. Like, what about your content is shareable? Because that's like the ultimate goal when it comes to making content that resonates with people.
Yeah, it's all about shareability. I mean, even Adam Mosseri came out in a recent interview with Brock Johnson, and he goes, we prioritize shares over everything else.
Yeah.
Prioritize shares. So everything you make, like exactly what you said, who's going to share this, right? Who's going to send it to who, right? Is a husband sending it to her, his wife, or is this friend and sending it to this friend? Like, how are you going to spark conversation with people wanting to DM that to somebody else? If you can't answer the question, don't post it.
Well, and I think too, it's just a perspective change because I know when an agent goes to do a listing video, they're like, okay, how am I going to get somebody to want to buy this house? And how am I going to get somebody to call me? So that's why they go and say, my listing, I am great. This house is great. Buy this house. Nope. Nobody wants to share an ad unless it's a really good ad, but like nobody wants to share an ad. And so it's just a perspective change. It's like, man, how can I present this in such a way that connects with the audience that it makes them want to share it with their friends?
100%. It's all about shareability. You can't make inward facing content. Everything's got to be outward facing. Who are you serving? Yep.
Love it. All right. AI search, I think, is interesting. A lot of the content stuff is interesting, but what about the process in running the business? Like, are you seeing anything that's really standing out to you right now about using AI more in the processes of your business?
Yeah. I love the automation ability of it, right? Like scheduling tasks and having it do things for you on a consistent basis without you having to tell it. And I don't know, have you guys played with operator mode on ChatGPT yet? Have you guys played with that?
No.
No. So in the operator mode, it's like, you have the $20 a month version, then you can go above that. You can automate a lot of those systems around your business. So each and every week, I take a lot of my social media content and I repurpose that, put it in newsletter format, double checking, new subscribers, sending all of these extra welcome email sequences. I've been able to automate that with the operator system because I have a daily task that goes on there, pulls the content from a Google Drive folder that I have, scans through the content, and then starts suggesting, okay, this is what we should post for your newsletter next week. So I'm not actually having to sit down. I used to have a time block on my calendar, 1 hour, write newsletter for this week, right? Well, now I have a scheduled task inside of ChatGPT to run that specific piece of my business for me. And there was an agent that I worked with who set up a similar thing. When she gets a contract in, she drags and drops the contract in, and it sends off an entire automation sequence that files all of her documents, sends all of the information to the builder because she reps a new builder, and basically handles everything for her. What used to take her 6 hours worth of paperwork, she does in about 5 minutes now.
Yeah,
which is amazing. So the automation side of it, if you take the time to get it set up right, is really what gives you leverage because it buys you time back, right? I was meeting with one of my clients earlier today, and I don't want to say he's falling flat on his face, but he's not getting the shit done he gets done because he's busy working with clients, right? So he's not getting his content out. He's not doing his marketing. He's not doing all the things that generates the business. And most agents, we go through that cycle, right? You get really busy working with clients and you don't do all the things you should be doing to generate business. And then you go through a slump and then you generate the business again. And you go through that cycle. Well, when you're able to identify and automate your systems, right? Whether it's content or paperwork or whatever it is, you get leverage because you get time back and you can do way more with way less help. So honestly, right now, with everything I've automated inside of my business, I have 0 staff right now. I have no virtual assistants, no staff. I run my entire business just by myself and my automations. It's awesome.
Well, it's like I've heard, I don't know, I think Tamir may have said, I don't know who said it, but it's like AI is not going to replace real estate agents. But there's a world in which we have 90% less real estate agents and we have the 10% left that leverage AI to do all of the business. Like so much of our business is mundane, stupid stuff that, a lot of that will get replaced for sure.
Well, I mean, I don't think we're far to go because the top 20% does 80% of the sales or whatever the new number is right now. So, I mean, we're not far behind that.
But even that 20% though, right? Like the top 20% that does the 80%, I even think the top 20%, 90% of that there's a world in which that goes away.
Yeah. It just allows you to be more efficient, efficient, better client service. I know Real's working on some great tools over there in the background to make the back end systems a whole lot easier for everybody. So,
but I don't think about that like in a negative way. To me, that's exciting because, it's like that's a lot of crappy agents in the industry that probably will be out of it. And so it should be an opportunity for great agents to do more and take more market share.
Yeah, I think so. But the thing I don't think we're ever going to get away with, it still is a relationship business.
For sure.
Right? If you have the relationships. But I'll tell you what, like relationships are one thing, but if you can show how much more value you bring to the table and how much more service you can provide to somebody, those relationships are only going to hold up so long.
Yeah, but I also think this is a way to scale your relationships. Like ChatGPT knows more and more and more about me, and people should be able to text like the AI version of me and not really be able to tell the difference. And it's like, I can put out more content so more people know me with AI. I can scale relationships with AI, which may sound weird, but it's not going to seem weird 4 or 5 years from now.
Have you set up your ChatGPT API with your mini chat yet?
As far as like using ChatGPT to respond to stuff.
Anybody that sends me a DM, I will neither confirm nor deny if I actually go in my DMs anymore.
So I have a question for you because my ManyChat is no longer working on my Houston Unlocked page.
Mm-hmm.
So I just deleted it. And I'm gonna try again when the month that I paid for expires. I'm gonna try to like reconnect it because I like couldn't figure it out. Right?
You just get overloaded.
I don't know.
Okay.
Have you looked into any alternatives other than ManyChat?
Yes. So StanStore has one built in that would do some of the automated responses. I was in the beta testing of that before they launched it live. I thought it was pretty good, but gonna get better. ManyChat to me still works phenomenally because it goes through and has conversations, grabs people's email addresses for me, automatically uploads them to my email subscriber list, re-engages them after a couple days. Anytime somebody has a question, I do have it set up to my Will Draper GPT, and then I use that API to connect it. So if they go through and ask questions, because I get a lot of the same questions over and over again in my DMs, and I can monitor those conversations with that one dashboard. And if I feel like I need to jump in, I do. But 90% of the time, I just let it handle those conversations.
Are you even real right now? Like this is you?
How many fingers do I have?
Yeah, it tweaks out. The AI tweaks out if you ask it if it's real or not.
Yeah.
Dude,
no.
I feel like we could have this conversation for days. I appreciate you, man. What would you say is the number one thing that people should go do right now in relation to video?
In relation to video, this is going to be counterintuitive. Go do your keyword research. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You can make a video. What if somebody cuts down a tree in the forest and nobody's around? Is it going to make a sound? Right. If you're not optimizing your bio, if you're not optimizing your captions with those keywords, you have a far less chance of being found. Right. So, one, what should you do with video? Know your keywords. Be able to optimize everything that you do through the lens of what those keywords are, and then video. Stop copying everybody else and come up with your own angle, your own style. Don't copy somebody else's video that's working. There's a lot of cookie cutter shit out there right now. And there's so much originality lost now. Like, I feel like I go in my feed sometimes when I'm doing research. I'm like, I've seen this post 7 times, 7 different ways, especially when there's a trend for like a listing video, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, there's only so many more text messages I can see where somebody's talking to their phone to show them a house, right?
Well,
like, I want originality back.
I think too, Will, the thing that you're hitting on, which I love, is that when you go cookie cutter copy somebody else's thing, a lot of times you lose yourself. And that's again, we've had a ton of people with a lot of success right now copying the cookie cutter thing of the local news stuff. But the people, like you said, that aren't doing well are ones that are just losing themselves when they go do the cookie cutter. So I do see the same thing a lot of our agents. And so, yeah, I love that. Don't lose yourself copying somebody else.
And I think letting your personality shine through, whether you're charismatic or you're dull or you're serious or like you're funny, like let all of that shit out. I work with this lady up in like the DMV area. And I was like, what are your 10 favorite things? Like, what are 10 things I don't know about you? Like, just tell me some stuff. And she goes through and she's like, yeah, I'm a 3rd-degree black belt. I was like, well, hang on a sec. You're a 3rd-degree black belt? I was like, she goes, yeah, I've been practicing since I was like 12 years old. And we were going through concepts for like one of her new listing videos. It's like, just do the whole thing in a gi, like the outfit thing. And I was like, just jump in front of the video and say, this house kicks the competition to the curb, and like do like a roundhouse kick, and then just do a different move in areas of the house. The video didn't go viral. It went viral for her. All of her friends shared it amongst each other. And they were like, by the way, I showed your video to, Blake and Steph, and they absolutely love you. They're looking to buy a house here. They said they don't want to use anybody but you. They love you. Boom. Sent that, got a referral from that. It got like 2,500 views, but it went viral for her. That's what we should all be focusing on when you're doing video. Go viral for you. Another guy, he's in Texas, and very well put together, like kind of serious, kind of stern. And he had a house that had a turtle garden in the backyard. A turtle garden, like not like for like a dog pen, like tortoises and shit. Like it was weird.
Love it.
And I was like, dude,
yeah.
I was like, You know what'd be really funny? I was like, just do it like a Ninja Turtle, right? I was like, dress up like a Ninja Turtle. And he was like, why would I do that? I was like, is that something you would do when you were a kid? He goes, yeah, I love the Ninja Turtles. I was like, just show that side of you, right? He had never done that before. It went viral for him, 1,500 views, right? But it had a bunch of shares. A guy who he fired 3 years prior because he was his boss. He fired him because of like, he was shitty at his job, right? So fired the guy. That guy reached out and said, hey, I saw this video, no hard feelings. Your marketing's fantastic. I love how you weren't afraid to just put yourself out there and be different. I need you to sell my house. Somebody he fired because he just showed a little personality. He wasn't cookie cutter. The video wasn't all that great. It was silly and funny, but it showed personality and it went viral for him. And he picked up another listing and then another listing and then another listing, right? Like, focus on your personality and being yourself. Like, let that shine through in your videos, no matter what you're making of it, whether it's the news, right? Whether it's home tours, whether it's local content, like whatever you're doing, let your personality shine and you're going to find your audience because your vibe will attract your tribe.
Love it. Love it. Thanks for hopping on, man. We'll, look forward to seeing what AI holds for us in the next year or two.
We might not even be here.
We might not be here. It may take.
Say, hey, there's a podcast. Like, all right, AI will you go talk for a while. Here's your key points. Just let it rip.
Yeah, the mice will evolve into mice people, and they'll find this podcast 1,000 years from now. And remember, sorry, that's a weird way to end a podcast. Thanks for being on. We'll see you on the next one.